Batteries are not charged. All right, I think we're ready to go here. All right, welcome everybody. This is July 12th, 2024. We're here at Northern Neck, the vigil for the January Sixers. This is day 1,283, 1,283 days since January 6th. And they just keep on coming, don't they? But anyway, we'll start off with the usual prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful rainy day. 2 inches at least at my house and probably more at other places, so thank you much for that, and we do need it. And please, God, help these J6ers be able to get out of jail, finish their time, get back with their families, and enjoy walking around getting soaking wet in a rainstorm. You know, I can't wait for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got 3 inches of rain as of this morning.
3.
And then got a bunch more, so I think we got another 2 inches.
It's locally, I'm sure it's locally varies, because I had some really strong bands that went through and then nothing for a little while, just kind of drizzle, and then it was just...
I was happy about the rain, but hopefully it won't rot everything down.
We had some in the wee hours in the
Do
morning.
you have a picture of your garden?
Not with me here.
You know, all right, but you're still able to make the garden go even after all your,
It's,
you know,
beans and
downtime?
zucchini and a few other things are going really well, and
Yeah, good.
tomatoes not so much.
My church on the dock, because that's where there's the most sunshine.
Yeah,
That worked.
pollen's in the air today.
Got a couple things I wanted to cover. I did get to go up this week to Tate's sentence, so that was a good thing to be there for that. And it was just quick up and back. I didn't go to the vigil or anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't see you. I looked for you. I figured
Yeah. No. A couple quick things, so I don't forget this. I try to look at the NPR database, NPR Radio, National Public Radio, J6. It's easy to just go ahead and do a search on that. And as of the update of today, July 12th, the stats did not change. No new arrests last week, according to them. The one interesting update was a gentleman named Terry Allen, 64 years old, from Spring Mills, Pennsylvania, which is actually really close to where my stomping grounds were. He had a trial yesterday, and he pled not guilty to all charges. He was found guilty on all charges but one. Count 2, assaulting and resisting or impeding certain officers. He's got a sentencing scheduled for 11/14. It's just interesting when you read the summary of what happened to Mr. Allen, Terry Allen. He marched towards the Capitol on January 6, 2021, carrying a black and red flag on a 5-foot-long wooden flagpole that he used to attack police officers, according to federal prosecutors. He also used metal fencing to both prevent police from using them as a defensive barrier. He used metal fencing to prevent police from using them as a defensive barrier, and to clear the space for rioters engaging with police. So I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to say there, but
I'm not sure
he must have been grabbing fences. There was a lot of tugging and pulling back and forth on fences and pushing and so on. In early 2023, a Pennsylvania State Police trooper identified Allen based on images because he recognized him after stopping his vehicle 3 years earlier and citing him for traffic violations. Small town, Pennsylvania. State policeman recognizes your face from 3 years ago. Another witness, who was also known Allen for a decade, told the FBI he had a stockpile of prepper things. According to court documents, he served 2 years in county jail, so basically he had some priors of aggravated assault. But I really highly recommend checking out that database. It's a good place to look in. From last week, I had forgotten to do it and bring this along. So, meaning on July 5th, last vigil. The week prior, there had been, I believe, 2 new arrests. So, week before last, 2 arrests. Last week, no arrests. Hope that's a trend. Or hope it holds. All right. Do you think we need to read this? We haven't done it in a while. What do you think?
Okay.
Go ahead and read the roster of everybody that was at Northern Neck Regional Jail in our recollection anyway. Howard Adams, Zach Alam, Eric Boshane, Tim Boehner, Nick Brockhoff, Jeffrey Brown, Mason Corson, Lucas Denny, Israel Easterday, Brandon Fellows, Todd Gardner, David Geetson, James Grant, Matthew Green, Kenneth Harrelson, Albuquerque Head, Brian Jackson, David Judd, Cash Kelly, Hosea Kenyon, Nick Lagerand, Samuel Lazar, Marcus Malley, Mark Mazza, Patrick McCoy, Jonathan Mellis, Matthew Miller, Robert Morse, John Munafo, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, William Norwood, Michael Perkins, Dominic Pizzola, Mark Ponder, Ronnie Presley, Mahala Pryor, Chris Quaglin, Barry Ramey, Zach Reel, William Reed, Howard Richardson, Thomas Robertson, Daniel Rodriguez, Jeffrey Sable, Ryan Samsel, Ronald Sandlin, Troy Sargent, Jeffrey Sills, Andrew Taki, Enrique Tario, Curtis Tate, Ricky Wilden, Shane Woods, and Kyle Young.
Did you guys touch the air conditioning?
No.
Oh, yeah, go on.
And we had a couple of updates this week. First of all, just talk about the upcoming sentencings in July. Zachary Alam is July 17th at 9:30. Gregory Yetman, July 22nd at 2. Brian Jackson, August 6th at 10. James Grant, August 8th at 10. Curtis Tate had his sentencing last week, and he received 63 months. Long time.
They were asking for the government was asking for as much as 78. So, yeah, that was a low end.
And Tucker Watson left DC yesterday, and he's now in Philadelphia in his transition. Jack Whitten is now in Loretto. Anthony Maceduno is now in Philadelphia. David Geetson is now in Oklahoma City, as well as Matthew DeSalva. One other thing, Todd Gardner asked, he's having a hard time. I got a Coors League message yesterday, and I thought I'd read it. Maybe somebody can help him. He says, well, I just got some bad news. I won't be getting halfway house until February 12th, 2025, which means I won't get out till Trump pardons us in January. I'm really disappointed. I miss my kids. I miss my lady. I haven't even told anyone yet because I don't know what to say. My girl keeps saying she's so excited to be reunited with me this summer, but now I gotta tell her the bad news. I have no clue how we're gonna survive financially at this point. I was really counting on getting back to work in August. Today really sucks. That was what I received today. And Todd Gardner's GiveSendGo is givesendgo.com/J6 Fresh Start. J6 FRESH Start START. So if anybody could help out him, he's sad that he's really upset. Like, he hasn't gotten back to me since then. And one more thing, just save the date. So no, it's kind of far in the future, but we just found this out last night. The Republican committee is having a Trump rally on October 12th 2024 in Lotsburg. That's 1032 Bleak House Farm Lane in Lotsburg. And that's Saturday, October 12th from 2 to 6. So just save that date. More information will be coming.
I'll give it a minute. We're gonna run through everything. We're not gonna have anything to say. We're gonna stand here looking kind of dumb in front of a bunch of people.
So, which committee is that?
The Republican.
Northumberland County Republican Committee,
And it's the 12th from what?
12th of October from 2 to 6. So, to talk about things. You know, that Chevron case that we've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even longer, is really huge. It leaves wide open for literal legal attack on an almost unlimited number of points. So the bureaucracies are just laying there completely vulnerable to the will of the people if we can just get the cases in court. Because they've been making decisions, illegal decisions, unconstitutional decisions, and setting unconstitutional policy for decades, at least since 1984 when the original Chevron case was decided. The new one is actually named something else, but it all has to do with the Chevron case. So we were at a meeting earlier this week, and there was a couple of attorneys there talking about the impacts that we can look at down the road from this particular case being handled. And it goes all over the place because, for example, the Department of Corrections has been establishing policy which has the effect of law for decades. And they've been doing it unconstitutionally. So there's a huge thing going on there. And since I thought I'd mention that, since this is a vigil, it's worth mentioning that literally every bureaucracy, inclusive of the Department of Corrections, the Department of Prisons, or Bureau of Prisons, BOP, they're all wide open because most of the stuff that they've put into effect as the effective law since 1984 is subject to scrutiny by the judicial system. Anyhow, I thought I'd mention all of that. And certainly there's much more beyond just the DOC and the BOP, as we all get to deal with bureaucracies every freaking day. Anyhow, it's good to be back, even though I'm a little tired. A little bit later on, we got a kind of a letter and a speech here from the Lego man, and I'll be looking into that as we get a little bit closer. Give me about 5 minutes on that.
Okay.
I could do the intro.
I'll do it.
So why are these highlighted and the rest aren't?
Because that's what I was gonna talk about today.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And
It's too, I wrote the dates down. Brian Jackson and James Grant are 2 days apart. It would have been nice if they were,
yeah,
concurrent.
because these two guys are
Second.
on the same day. It's nice. So you could spend the whole week, the 6th, the 8th, the 9th.
Have we spoken to either of those?
I happen to know that there's a couple people online that are wondering what you guys are talking about.
Well,
What are you doing?
what we're
Just
talking
say it.
about is Michael Oliveras' sentencing date is August 9th at 9:30, and David Dempsey is August 9th at 12:30. They haven't really called in to Northern Neck, but they do call into Freedom Corner.
Okay.
And Brian Smith with the Y, his sentencing is August 20th.
Okay. Here, everyone, the Northern Neck Sentinel edition for July just came out on Thursday this week. You can go to
www.nnsentinel.com. Check it out. There's a great article down here. A political prisoner speaks of freedom. That's Robert Morse. You're going to talk about that, I think, later. But anyway, check it out. Northern Neck Sentinel, the voice of the people. Hey for John Haynes. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. Jen said hi.
I saw her just this week. I don't know. I don't ever watch.
Quarter after.
You ready?
You just want to get it over
Well,
Well-
7:30, everybody's gonna start calling.
We'll see.
Maybe.
7:20, Olivia's gonna call.
Oh, good.
with. Oh,
I guess
I
we
better
gotta
get this done.
All right, go ahead then.
For me this evening, that's what I know. It's pretty good job.
We got a communications from Robert Morse, AKA the Lego Man. That's with 2 G's for all y'all out there. And his note says, as you may or may not know, I launched www.akathelego.man with 2 G's.com. The with 2 G's part isn't part of it. Anyways, on July 14th of this year, I intended to update the website so that it has a fresh look and feel for the 1-year anniversary. I deliberately chose that particular date for a reason. July 14th is also when the French celebrate what is known as Bastille Day, a day when the people of France stormed the prison of Bastille to liberate the political prisoners inside. That day in 1789 kicked off the French Revolution, and it's the day I kick off my website. Not the 1789 part. So his little diatribe goes on, and he says, bonjour, this is your favorite neighborhood Lego man. I want to wish you a happy Bastille Day. What is Bastille Day, you might ask? I would be happy to briefly resume my role as a history teacher to answer your question for you. The day remembered as Bastille Day took place on French soil on July 14, 1789. This day is recalled in history as the day when the people of France stormed the ancient royal fortress Bastille prison in order to liberate the political prisoners held captive behind the unforgiving stone walls. That passionate and successful hostage rescue mission is known as the event that began the French Revolution, and today, Bastille Day, is a national holiday in France. A day that may have been tragic, shocking, and vitriol at first is now honored as a testament to the pride and the will of the French people to remain free, ensure the liberty of their incarcerated brotherhood, to rise up against the ancien regime, and has been proudly celebrated for more than a century. January 6th will become America's next national holiday, our country's version of Bastille Day, to remember that our constitutional republic does not belong to an exclusive, apathetic elite few, but that our government derives its just powers from the consent of the governed and should return to a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. January 6th will become America's next national holiday to remember that the persevering spirit eloquently captured in the words of our excellent national anthem remain true. To remember that our star-spangled banner does yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave is still there. On future January 6th, we got to take a strategic pause for a caller.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, we hear you. This is Tom.
Oh, nice. How are y'all doing?
Good. Would
Hi,
this
Olivia.
be Olivia Pollock? Uh-oh.
This is Olivia Pollock, yes, sir. Calling in from DC.
Awesome. Nice to hear your voice. How you doing today?
We're doing good. Yeah, it's been a good day today. Just got done with a little workout and about to eat some fish cakes and relax, play some games.
All right.
Chilling out.
Good.
But,
Would you say you
yeah, I wanted to say, oh, go ahead.
What did you have for dinner?
Fish cakes.
We're about to have fish cakes or salmon cakes, whatever you want to call them.
There's
That's a big staple in here.
yeah. So there's fish in it anyway, you think?
Right, yeah, fish and crackers, mayonnaise, a bunch of, yeah, it's not necessarily sweet. It's just like fish patties,
Gotcha.
crab cake type thing.
All right.
Yeah. But, yeah, we had a good last week. I wanted to, thank everybody. We had a big group come up and prayed, 4th of July. My dad and brother and them were up here, and I know there was a bunch of people. I don't know, how many people exactly, but I know there was a big group, but man, God answered some prayers, at least in our unit, and I know in the guys' unit, it's been so, like, I don't know, he just brought a sense of peace in this place, and I'm just thankful for everybody who got together and prayed with us, and I know they went down to the Capitol and different places and prayed that God would bring down the evil in the high places, and I know he's going to do that, and I'm just thankful. He just, the 3 days leading up to it, when we had 3 days of prayer, it started off, there was the most beautiful sunset I ever seen that night. It was like fluorescent pink coming through and the blue cloud, oh my goodness, and so that was like the starter, and then it just got better and better each day, and then 4th of July, we had a big celebration, and I don't know, it's just a good sense of Thanksgiving. We had some rough times leading up to that, and I know God just, took care of all the problem people that were in here, got them out, and it's just been good ever since. And we had a real good bunch of people that hadn't been coming to our Wednesday night, Sunday morning services started coming, and I don't know, it was just really good. So I know God, I just want to let everybody know, God's answering prayers. He's still in the saving business and the prayer answering business, and just to keep going, press on, and calling his name, because he will hear us and he will answer us. And let's see, there was a verse I had read. Let me see if I can find it. Psalm 91. There was a bunch of verses, but Psalm 91. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him in high places, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him, and I will be with him in trouble, and will deliver him and honor him with long life. Will I satisfy him, and will show him my salvation. And I just want to say, God did, we called upon his name, and he answered. And, but I want to say too, the devil's gonna get mad that we're getting victories and battles are being won for him, for the Lord. And so, put on that armor of God and get ready for some more battles, because I feel like the devil's about to come at us again, or retaliate. And just be ready, armor tells, God says, having done all, stand, and then it gives a list of the armor that you need to put on to stand. And that's what, we may not know what to do or what the next step, but God said at least stand, stand for what's right, stand for what's good. And I got a newsletter. There's a girl that sends me, and I know she sends a lot. She does a lot. She writes a newsletter and sends it in. Her name is Caitlin Marver, and she does a Magamouth newsletter, and she writes, I know, a bunch of the guys over in the unit. She writes my mom and a bunch of the ladies, and she just does a lot, and I wanted to give her a shout out. But she wrote in this one, the July, a couple of quotes from Ronald Reagan and Thomas Paine. I just want to read it because it was really good. Ronald Reagan's famous words couldn't ring truer than they do today. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. If we fail, at least let our children and our children's children say we justified our brief moment here. We did all that could be done. He also affirmed that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We don't pass it into our children in our bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed to them to do the same. As Thomas Paine said, these are the times that Triumph souls, the summer soldier, the sunshine patriot, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country, but he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. We have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. That what we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. This dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price on its goods, and it would be strange indeed if this so celestial an article as freedom did not be highly rated. If America falls, there will be no place to flee. This is our moment in history to stand, our D-Day, our rendezvous with destiny, our 1776. We have been called to the place on earth for such a time as this. Therefore, after you've done everything to stand firm. And I just, it couldn't say it better. This is a time that we can do all we can to, maybe give our children a freer country than we saw. And to not let it go down the drain. And I just appreciate what y'all are doing, just standing up for those guys in Northern Neck, and ultimately standing up for all of us here that are incarcerated right now. But, the fight's not just with us, it's with our whole country. It's going to be one step at a time, one little battle, one victory here and there, and then eventually we'll see, victory in our country. And it was just so neat, everybody coming together and praying, because I feel like that's what it's going to take, when God said, humble ourselves and pray and seek his face, then he will turn and hear from heaven and heal our lands. And that's what I believe we need, and that's the answer. Jesus is the answer for giving us that freedom and that justice and judgment and, true justice and judgment that we don't see anymore. The court systems are a big sham. They're just show trials, overpowering judges that just, it's not, fair sentences. It's you hear J6 and you get the max. You hear something else, it's injustice. And, I just pray that we see true justice again, and we can, have something to give our children and have that legacy to hand down. That freedom is, truly a price worth paying. And I just want to thank everybody for all you're doing, and just to keep up, don't give up. Psalms 119:92, it says, unless the law had been my delight, I should have perished in my affliction. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word, and, just hope in the Lord, and he'll give you that delight when you're going through those hard times, when you're sitting in your cell and you can't, find joy that day. Look to God, and he'll give you those little joys, those little, victories that you can count your blessings. And then it just changes your whole outlook on life, and you can see that, even in hard times, God still works, and he just wants us to, be available for him to use us. And I know he's got big plans for, so many, bringing up that next generation. And I pray that our generation isn't the one, it says freedom is only one generation from being lost. And I pray that it's not our generation, that we don't let it fall and slip through our fingers. It's almost there. I feel like we're just hanging on to that very last tip of the rope. But just hang on and don't let go, because I believe God, we're going to see the victory, because there are so many people out there turning back to him and, calling on his name, and he will give it to us. I have full confidence. He didn't, we were saying the other day, God didn't bring us step by step, through these last 4 years just to leave us in the end, just to leave us sitting to rot in jail. God's got God's got us here for a purpose, and I think that's just the call out to the people that rally the troops, so to say. But He's not going to leave us in the end and just, you know, let us go to destruction. He's going to let us see the victory. I have full confidence. I'm excited, and I'm proud to stand beside all of y'all and see these victories.
Well, that's awesome, Olivia. Thank you. And
Yeah.
we're the ones who should be telling you never give up. And so you're our cheerleader. I appreciate it. I
No.
mean, we need it too sometimes.
No, yeah. That's right. And I think, we all need to, lift each other up, because I feel like it's easy for me in here because I don't have to do all the legwork, all the footwork, and there's not much I can do. My hands are kind of tied, but y'all are out there, on the front lines right now. Y'all are the ones, calling the senators, getting the word out, bringing awareness to what our plight is. And I want y'all to know I really appreciate it, and everyone's listening in. Everybody's got a part in this, even if it's just praying, even if it's just, lifting up your neighbor and encouraging them to get back on track and, to quit hiding their heads in the sand. That's what I feel like why we got to where we are, because so many of us we were comfortable. It was easy. We didn't have time to look into, at least that's how it was for me. Just go make money, spend money, and let politics do politics, so to say. But, we've let it go too long, and now it's time to start stepping in and stepping up for what's right. We've seen the evils now firsthand. Those guys that were in here first off, right after January 6th, man, I just, appreciate everything they did for us, because coming in when me and my brother came in, it's not the same jail that they came into, so it's so much better, and they paved the way for us compared to what it was, and they had to endure, a lot more hardships than we have, and, I just appreciate that, and they're the pioneers, so to speak, of it, and I just, just keep pressing on and lifting each other up, because we may not agree, everybody may not agree on everything, but that main goal is we all want to see our country, free again, and we can come together with that, put aside those petty differences and those, little squabbles that Satan tries to use to keep us apart and to keep us separated so we can't do great work. And, we ain't got time for that anymore. It's time to put that kind of childish stuff away. I feel like, being in here, oh my goodness, you try to get something done, you try to come to get everybody to come together to, if they don't take us direct or whatever, try to get them together. Oh, it's like pulling teeth to get people to just stand up for something. And I feel like it's the same way with us. It's just like, why can't we just, stop nitpicking all this, well, she did this or she did that. I'm like, no, just like, we all want to go direct. Let's come together. And the same thing with, we want our country back. We want to have freedoms and truth, court systems to have actual justice and not just, whatever you call what's going on now, the mess. but yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
A piece of good news you might not have heard, the Senate just passed a House bill. So both the House and the Senate passed a bill. It's called H.R. 3019, and it is the Federal Prison Oversight Act. It's going to the president's desk, and if he signs that, this will be the first.
You have 1 minute remaining.
This will be the first time that the Bureau of Prisons has had an oversight function since their inception. So it's a big deal.
Wow, that's huge. That is huge.
Right.
That's something. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, you don't realize how bad it is until we got in here, and you just like, that'll be great.
And you nailed it earlier. You and the people that came before you are the eyes that are and the light that's shining inside of that dark place. And so thank you all for everything you're doing and talking about it, having the courage to talk about it and push back.
Yeah, I mean, that's, at this point, that's the thing. We got to stop being scared to actually call out the problems we see, because, even if it wasn't just us, the ones that are in here, it's not right. And we know that now. And I just thank everybody for what you do. And I mean, that is huge. and I know it probably took a lot. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Bye, Olivia.
So I am connected. You can hear that. I'm connected to it, but when the call came in,
But I wonder if, you know, the verbal part, I almost picked up this microphone just to ask her if she can actually hear me talking just normal like this over the phone. I don't know if
so it's all connected through there?
I don't know what the specifications are, so I don't know if it works that way.
Give me a ring quick if you have a chance. Let's just see what it does.
Here, give me a call. Call it. I just wanted, because, well, that might not work, but try it. Just give him a call. We're doing science experiments here, folks.
But we still have to get back to that, because
We do, but after Olivia's a tough act to follow. I mean, my
Science
God.
experiments better than the government does them.
Oh, yes, yes. Did you forget his phone number?
no, it's just, I don't call him often, so it's,
And with results, the world can see.
so what am I supposed to do?
So,
Can you hear me?
I don't know.
Hang on a second. Go ahead. Cheryl, speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Speak into your phone.
I am speaking into the phone. Can you hear me? You're gonna test on that?
I was, but it probably takes your phone to be sitting over that way, to be here. You don't,
What do you
never
want me to
mind,
do?
this isn't gonna work. This is not gonna work.
I don't know what you want me to do.
I
You said
need,
call. Okay, never mind.
yeah, so that's not gonna work out.
Okay, so we're getting back to Bastille Day, which is,
Should I do that right now? It's hard to follow, Olivia.
July 14th and 1789, and we got to the point where he's gonna talk about.
I got this, babe, I got this, it's okay. Love you to death. So a little bit of a rewind to get restarted. January 6th will become America's next holiday to remember that the persevering spirit eloquently captured in the words of our excellent national anthem remain true. To remember that our Star-Spangled Banner does yet wear out, this doesn't make sense, does yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave, and that despite the overwhelming odds, our flag is still there. On January 6th, we will reverently recite the names of the victorious dead who gave their lives on Capitol grounds: Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, Benjamin Phillips, and Kevin Grayson, who will always be remembered. On future January 6th, we will ceremoniously eat lobster to remember how, back then, our own crooked government, cooked might be good too, designed that cold, fateful day to be none other than a lobster trap for all of them, to tarnish a rightful president along with those who ardently, genuinely, and constitutionally assembled to make America great again after witnessing so much shameful disgrace to their home. On future January 6th, we will celebrate that day to remember how the domestic enemies of liberty gravely miscalculated. They did not anticipate how the integrity of the people would rise to the occasion as a result, and would continue on from the entrapment machinations of that cold, fateful day to overcome the deceptions of a shamelessly corrupt justice system and complicit media. We will celebrate January 6th because what the enemy intended for evil, the Creator transformed for good, and the truth really did set us free. January 6th will not exclusively be a holiday for political prisoners who had their lives destroyed by a despotic two-tier justice system, but a holiday that celebrates the vast amount of support to January 6th political prisoners incarcerated. To remember like the French Bastille Day, the American people have stormed tens of millions of letters into the various and horrific prisons where the January 6ers have been held hostage. Thanks to the efforts of the Patriot Mail Project, senators and congressmen and women representatives of the people have stormed inside the prisons where the J6ers have been held hostage. The people banded together to relieve the forlorn political prisoners from the godless swamp of the Northern Neck Regional Jail in Warsaw, Virginia, by the might, determination, and fervor of the heroic Northern Neck Patriots. The people who had loved ones abducted inside the wretched building or answered the call of duty have relentlessly set up camp outside the DC Gulag where our J6ers have been held hostage, continually claiming territory behind enemy lines, giving our voice to our people, known as the Freedom Corner, for years now. So you see, January 6th, like the French Bastille Day, was and has always been about a fraternity and the equality of the people. From sea to shining sea, uniting together after a long train of abuses to demand life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from their government, expectations of which there is no shame to claim due to our self-evident God-given unalienable rights. January 6th will forevermore belong to a people of a country who were excruciatingly unimpressed and had suffered too long at the hands of their own government, and to whom, ever since that cold, fateful day in 2021, were willing to try and rescue their own. Because like our cousins, real French and real Americans do not leave their people behind and are always willing to fight for freedom's sake. January 6th has been the foe of liberty's greatest mistake and will be the American people's next triumphant holiday. So today, July 14th, that's actually this Sunday, perhaps for the first time, raise a glass of champagne today with the French to celebrate Bastille Day with the very country we owe our own independence to. And begin finding a surplus of pride for the people of America on January 6th, who decided to be more than just sunshine patriots, who were willing to have a rendezvous with destiny on the steps of the people's house, who were willing to remind the government who they work for with the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances, and who still have the courage to keep this republic with our free minds and bare hands each and every year. Find out more at www.aka.com. That's 2 G's in that, Lego Man. Vive la France! God bless America! Vive la liberté!
Nice.
This has been your friendly neighborhood Lego Man, Robert Morse, J6 political prisoner, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, Rangers lead the way. Happy Bastille Day.
Nice. You said that he wants to give this to John?
Yeah,
All right, because I'm not sure that, I know we don't want to read it here.
no. I sent it to John already,
Yeah, it's John's call.
yeah. As he said, I sent it to him.
For all of you that follow, or that are on X, I follow Julie Kelly. She has a Substack called Declassified with Julie Kelly. So you can either find her on X or go to Substack and look her up. But she did this just Wednesday this week. After Fisher, what next? That's regarding the 1512C2 indictment against J6ers, which was overturned by the Supreme Court just last week. And she describes it so you can understand how they use that Enron era accounting law about people destroying and mutilating records and so on, obstructing official proceedings of Congress who was investigating them. So she explains it all very, very well. But then she goes on to say what what is next? And I'm not going to read it, but I recommend it to you to take a look at it. We know that the DOJ has already said they're going to spend up to 60 days. So I guess that's, 53 days or something like that, more, mulling it over and seeing what they're going to do about it. But it seems like they want to just ignore it. So we'll see if that actually can happen. But it's worth looking into. I also wanted to touch on before another call, the HR 3019, which I mentioned again. Senator John Ossoff from Georgia, who's a bipartisan effort here. Mike Braun from Indiana, Dick Durbin, and then others got onto it too. So you can find that, just look up Federal Prison Oversight Act, or you can look up the Prison Fellowship. Prison Fellowship is an organization that's been around for many, many years fighting for prisoner rights and prison reform. So they put a really great little article on July 10th. So Prison Fellowship, the nation's largest Christian nonprofit serving currently and formerly incarcerated people and their families, and a leading advocate for criminal justice reform, praises the U.S. Senate for passing the Federal Prison Oversight Act. So basically, it paves the way to ensuring conditions in prison are safer and more humane for staff and incarcerated people alike. If anybody has been following this stuff, there was a prison in I didn't have to bring it along with me. Anyway, it got the moniker, the name of the Rape Club. It was a female prison, and they brought in regulators to review what was going on there. There's 8 corrections officers or employees who were charged and are serving time, or 8th one is going to sentence or going to trial for sexually assaulting females in this prison, and it's been going on and on and on for a long, long time. So they shut the place down. But some of the stories that, as Olivia said, that are coming out of these jails and prisons are making people step up and sit up and listen. So the long and short of HR 3019, again, I printed out the whole act here, but it's going to require an ombudsman, hard thing for me to say. And they're basically going to go into all the prisons, and they're going to develop a rating system, and they're going to rate them all. They rate every single one of them. Depending upon the rating that you get, determines how much oversight and how many visits and how many inspections and so on go on. So it's really important. Maurice touched on it earlier when you talked about the Chevron doctrine and how, I think you said DOJ or BOP, one of the two, make up their own rules, and that's essentially the same scenario here.
Yeah, that was my point was that Department of Corrections and the Bureau of Prisons, they're bureaucracies, and bureaucracies historically since 1984 have had the luxury of interpreting law with the effect of twisting it, and they've made policy that it's actually contrary to the laws that they're supposed to be enforcing. Anyways, we've got another caller.
Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is $28.31. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hey, who's there?
Hey, this is Jonathan Copeland.
Jonathan, this is Tom, Maurice, and Cheryl.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How we doing on Friday?
Doing good.
We're enjoying the company of good J6ers.
Wonderful. That's always a good thing.
Yes,
You gonna see any of the news?
Do we need some news? You have some news?
Well, I mean, Alec Baldwin, his case got dismissed. Oh, really? I saw some headlines on him, and I'm just so disgusted by all of that.
Yeah, the justice system is just completely broken at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, apparently, we heard about that on the way here tonight, and apparently, the state withheld evidence.
Oh,
And-
really?
yeah,
I believe there's a few cases. Yeah.
And you know, as is standard practice for the state, when they don't want anything to go to trial, they can withhold without accountability. So it appears that's what they did. So
I believe there's a couple of cases in the J6 world that they didn't provide all the evidence.
I believe there are a few.
I think there may be a few occurrences of that. You know, in fact, I would bet on that more readily than buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah. You know, I hear there's even issues with somebody even destroying evidence. I'm not sure what that's about.
Yes.
Some sort of committee or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, right.
Exactly.
A select committee.
Something like that. I don't know. Maybe they can
Yeah,
tell us.
select committee.
Yeah, that select committee selectively picked their evidence, and then when
Yeah, and they charged us based off that committee, didn't they?
yeah, they did, and now there's no evidence.
No evidence, right? Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah, not in this country, right? Huh.
I was wondering how they did that, you know. I couldn't believe it. Hopefully, somebody that represents me speaks up about that.
That would be nice. Let me know who that actually turns out to be, because I'm not seeing it today.
Yeah, I would sure hate for the courts to deny all those motions.
Well,
they probably would.
and I think it's coming. I think it's coming. This is going to take years to clean up, but it's going to be a continuous source of entertainment, for lack of a better way to put it, for quite some time to come.
I'm curious because we got to reschedule. We're out in November now, so I'll be getting sentenced in November. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the election, and you know, I'm basically here for the next 6 months. Well, I mean, I've already been here for a couple, but I'll be here at least.
Yeah. When's your sentencing date?
It's in November 22nd.
November 22nd. Okay.
It was October 18th, the day that Trump was supposed to get sentenced.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
didn't work
September 18th,
either.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So I'll be here. I'll get to watch the election here. That'll be pretty exciting.
I think it's amazing how water keeps rolling off of that duck's back, Mr. Trump's.
But the audio is a little bit backed out.
Yeah, we're messed up tonight. Maurice isn't close enough to the phone here, I think.
He has to talk loud.
I'm sitting too reclined and far away from the phone to actually be heard.
Get too relaxed.
Yes, exactly. I need to relax.
We
So,
all-
Is it better now that he's talking?
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no echo.
oh, that's so good. But I'm not the only one here, and in fact, I'm kind of getting up to speed on a lot of these folks here. So,
Okay.
how's your world been outside of the legal woes? Life inside the gulag?
Well, it seems to be fine here, but it's not home. This place gets to you a little bit. You know, we're all kind of close to each other all day, every day, and feel like we get less of what we need and enough time to think about it.
Yeah, we've had lots of time to think about it.
It's a nice rainy day though. We finally got some rain.
Was it rainy outside? I do remember seeing the clouds for just a brief second.
Yeah, we had a drought, and now they're talking about a flood alert.
Nice.
So you
Yeah,
can't
I
wait.
wish I could stand in that rain right now. I'd give everything just to stand in the rain and get
Yeah.
wet.
We were just talking about that.
That would be great. You know, I don't care if it's storming 1,000 degrees. They don't let us outside because it's over 90 degrees. And I'm like, I do this every day. I work out in this stuff. I'm doing concrete in 90-degree weather every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I don't care if it's 103. Let me outside.
exactly.
But,
Might
you know,
as
you
well.
got to get yourself prepared mentally for it.
Well, I understand that things have in fact improved with the different, as guys cycle through, there seems to be some degree of improvement in conditions, even if subtle enough that you can't really describe it, but, so there's a little bit of hope in there that there's.
I'll tell you what, it's pretty nice in here, and that's why I was excited to be here for 6 months, because I would like to get a happy year down here. This is a nice place to be. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else right now.
Yeah, good.
We have heard some nightmare stories about other places. In fact, we're really close to the Northern Neck Jail here, and
Oh yeah, I've heard.
I'm sure you've heard plenty of stories about that one.
Yeah, man, I don't even know. I heard they don't even let J6ers there.
That's what we're given to believe, but you know, it's interesting to observe that when they don't want information to go out, at least initially, they're pretty good at keeping tight lips.
Oh man.
So if
That's
there's,
scary stuff. No, the system looks scary.
it is scary.
You never know what will happen to you, you know? Right now, I feel like I'm safe, but you never know when you get by yourself and you get shipped all over the place. They come and got a guy at 1:30 a.m. and shipped him out, so that had to have been terrifying.
Oh, when did that happen?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Tucker.
One of your guys, one of the J6ers?
Yeah, they got shipped out.
Yeah.
Got temp check and they're out.
Gotcha.
Probably 10 or 11 more sentencing. Well, I heard there's 14 of them this week, so
Wow.
I don't even know how many or what happened. I've seen a couple on the news, but our apps are down right now, and I don't know if they'll ever be fixed.
Wow.
So we're in a that's about it.
What do you have?
We have the news, Scripps, the only channel we get.
Scripts, okay.
Okay.
Oh.
They've been talking a lot about Joe Biden,
Yeah.
but they showed Joe Biden was up one point to Trump, and I'm like, are you telling me after all that shit since the debate that he's up? I don't believe any of that stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's all propaganda.
Yeah, because they were attacking him mostly because it's his own people that are attacking him, and then they realized that he's not going to quit, he's not going to back out, so now they got to support him with everything they have.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people, at least publicly, pushing Kamala.
Yeah.
I got my own theories about it. I think if, you know, for the past couple of years, there's been a lot of people presuming that maybe Michelle Obama would be the new candidate, but I've been doing a lot of thinking on it lately, and it kind of looks to me that maybe if we're going to talk about first ladies that could be the presidential candidate, the one that seems to have the strongest motivation to even try for it would be Jill Biden.
Go ahead.
She's facing an existential crisis if things go south, and she likes the money a lot, and she likes the industry that's been built within the Biden family, and if the deep state wants to continue that, I'm sure that they would consider Jill as an alternative.
Shit. Oh my goodness. You know, you lost me at Jill, but Michelle, I can see doing that, but they don't have enough time. They have reacted.
They don't. Yeah.
They don't have time, do they?
Even if Michelle got in there, I don't think people would react the same way. And I don't think she's too happy with Joe Biden.
No. No. But yeah, the timing is broken because there's milestones that if you're going to make changes, you've got to do them before the milestones. And as far as I can tell, a couple of them have already come and gone, and so it is kind of too late.
I'm hopeful. Keep Joe in. Let's go.
Oh, I agree with you.
The only problem with that is they have the algorithms on their side, and I don't know if they can cheat that much without COVID.
Well, they say that he sleeps 16 hours a day, and that they haven't had a cabinet meeting in over a month or longer than that. No, probably longer than that. So
That tells you.
Yeah,
Somebody's pulling the strings.
somebody's definitely pulling the strings. I think Trump is doing really good by standing by and letting him do his own thing. That's the best campaigning he can do, to be honest. Keep doing what he's doing, have the rallies, but just leave Joe alone because he's gonna hurt himself there.
Yeah, nobody can campaign for Trump like Joe Biden can.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? They called him the vice president yesterday.
Yeah.
The funny thing, though, is that there's so many people that are surprised by all of this. And again, that's the mainstream media, making such a big stink of it. Probably a lot more just regular Americans already had some idea of it. But it's just amazing to me that it's a shock to anybody at all at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraged. I really think Trump's going to win. I support him fully, and I think people are really waking up. Even the people that would never consider voting for Donald Trump, they really just missed the $1.88 gallon of gas, the $1.20 gallon of milk, the under $1.58.
Yep.
They miss all that stuff. Their heating bills are outrageous. They can't afford food. It's either food or bills.
Yeah. Yep.
Completely.
Speaking of food, our food's been late. It's been late for the last 3 or 4 days.
That's interesting. So what time is it supposed to be there?
They're usually around 7.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Then it's just been like the other day, it was 9 o'clock. Great.
Yeah. We were talking to Olivia and just a minute ago, and she said they hadn't eaten yet either. So.
Here, so everyone's behind.
Yeah, probably.
This place is understaffed. It's really just a joke. I mean, what more can I say without hurting myself? It's just.
Yeah.
They're just so unprofessional. I mean, I feel bad for the people who live here and go through the system every day. The young men that are going through it. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting, but I tell you what, here's some good news for you. The Senate just passed a bill last week. It's called the Federal Prison Oversight Act, and if this it's passed it was originated in the House. It's H.R. 3019, and it was passed by the House and Senate, so it's headed to the President's desk. If that gets signed, that'll be the first major prison overhaul legislation in decades. So
what's it trying to do?
Well, it's establishing a process for basically inspections and then a rating system of the different facilities, and depending upon the ratings that they receive, they're establishing an ombudsman position under the Attorney General. And they'll have specific timelines to make corrections. So it's a process that they're putting in that's going to apply across all of the federal BOP facilities. And to me, I think that's a great place to start, because most of the other facilities...
You have 1 minute remaining.
Those same rules flow down. So eventually they'll get to the jail.
Yeah.
Too.
Basically, you get a good score, you get good funding. That's absolutely great. They need reform, and I think you'll get more and more reform as we get into Trump's era. Because of people like us, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But thanks for the call, guys. I got you for a few more seconds. My name's John and Joseph Copeland from Lima, Ohio. Look forward to talking to you soon again.
Jonathan, thanks a lot. Great talking to you too, as always.
God bless you, sir. Have a good one, guys.
All right, good
You
night.
too.
Bye-bye.
Just wanted to say that
Thank you for you.
Jonathan Copeland, Coplind, and his inmate number is 389575. So if you'd like to donate to him, feel free to do so. Give Send Go. You can go on to Patriot Mail Project and look him up and help him out.
What did he say his town is? Lime, Ohio?
I think it's Lime.
Lima,
Lima.
Ohio. Yeah, have to look it up.
The prison you were talking about is Dublin.
Dublin, FCI, correct. Thank you for that.
Okay, so the women's facility that I spoke of before is Dublin. Where is it?
California.
California, okay. Dublin FCI, and like I said, they shut it down. I mean, they were supposed to go in and investigate and you know, start to do some reforms, and I guess it was so bad, they just shut it down. So the story that I read about it, some of the ladies woke up, lady came out of her cell, and what's going on? Everybody's pointing at the TV and crying and laughing and yelling and so on, and they found out that they were going to shut the place down, and then it started to sink into them. That meant that they were suddenly going to be now shipped out to other facilities, some of them outside of California. So a whole nother set of hardships ensued from that, but at least they felt like they were safe from the predatory practices that were going on in that jail. I mean, even the pastor was involved. I mean, they were.
Good God.
It was ongoing. It was ongoing.
On that 3119, that was actually a subject of discussion in last month's jail board meeting. So they're already here in Virginia getting ready for that kind of procedure.
You're saying the act, the 309?
Yeah, they were talking about the setting up an ombudsman and having even civilian citizens on that board to conduct the oversight. So there's kind of a big thing going on, and of course, you know, funding of that particular bill is going to probably be a little bit problematic, but it was part of the discussion at last month's jail board meeting.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, then the other thing, did they talk about the correctional facility here in Haynesville has been shut down or is being shut down? Did you know about that? Did they talk about it?
They talk about that. In fact, it's not the only one. And apparently there's going to be a redistribution of all of those prisoners, and there's question as to whether or not the remaining facilities, such as Northern Neck and others, Petersburg, are actually going to be in a position to absorb all of that.
The question I have, though, is the Northern Neck Regional Jail is not a corrections facility. It's not a rehabilitation. It's a jail. It's a jail. That's all it is, and not a very good one.
I think some people think that the line is blurred.
Did they happen to talk about religious services or any of the other things that...
Negative. No,
yeah.
That wasn't brought up in either month.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's where I think we got to get back to, is holding them accountable for the things, the rights that they took away from COVID, during COVID, or as an excuse of COVID, and never brought back, like religious services, in person, you know, looking through the glass, visitations,
right,
you know, those kinds of things.
You know, they did mention, so the other day, there was extended discussion on some of the rules that the FCC is starting to impose, and it was pretty informative as to what's going on there. So apparently the FCC has decided that it's not cool for the facilities to collect, commissions. So right now the FCC says, well, they charge based on minutes, by the minute, for services to include networking, monitoring of calls for keywords like suicide and other things. And they charge like 21 cents a minute. And if they're not able to collect the commissions, then the providers are going to say, well, you know, I can't give it to you at the cheaper price, because now the FCC is recommending, instead of 21 cents a minute, they're telling everybody you can't charge more than 7 cents a minute. And so now the breadth of the services that were being provided is at risk. And not only that, but if the facilities have to make up the difference for any services that are being provided, they're going to have to make cuts elsewhere that have nothing to do with telecommunications, networking, or anything. So basically anything that's not constitutionally mandated is on the chopping block because of this FCC ruling, which was intended to make it better for the inmates, but it's going to have an unintended consequence of making it harder on the inmates. And so it was a pretty interesting discussion that they had. And I noticed that Amy sent you something So maybe it's in there, I don't know. No, she gave you the packet,
It was the,
just a package.
Yeah, I received the packet, which is the minutes from the previous meeting, the budget up, the documentation, and then the agenda for the meeting that you all attended.
So that's everything except for the minutes from this month's meeting, which haven't been approved yet, so you won't get that till next month.
Yeah, but it was interesting that they moved the meeting 1 week to ostensibly be able to prepare their end of month's financials, et cetera, and the minutes didn't come to me until about 2 hours before the meeting. So the packet didn't get to me for 2 hours before the meeting. So I don't know if that was.
I think that's just because, of your bright, shiny face and who you are.
probably.
Is anyone familiar with the book that was published called Ashley, The Untold Story of the Women of January 6th?
No, this is the first time I've heard of it.
I printed out an article, but it doesn't have the author's name. So I was aware of this because Mickey told me about it several months ago when we were in D.C. I don't know if you guys were there at that time or not, but and she was consulted, and in fact she's quoted in this article. But this was a Gateway Pundit article, so everybody's familiar with Gateway Pundit. It's a post by Jack Cashill, and it was it's older. It's May 23rd, so it's been out there for a little bit. But I've got to try to find the book and get a hold of it. I'm going to read this, just a little bit of it. Here's how this article starts. Although the Reichstag fire metaphor is often abused in the case of January 6, it hits pretty close to the mark. In February 1933, the German parliament building, the Reichstag, went up in flames. The Nazi leadership and its coalition partners used the fire to claim that communists were planning a violent uprising. They claimed that emergency legislation was needed to prevent this. The resulting act, commonly known as the Reichstag Fire Decree, abolished a number of constitutional protections and paved the way for Nazi dictatorship. I'm just going to pause there and think about the article that I showed you earlier about how we have developed the fourth branch of government, which is the intelligence communities, and as a result of after 9/11 and the Patriot Act and so on, where we gradually developed a whole fourth branch of government because we were afraid and because we were cracking down on terrorism, but we were turning the apparatus inward on the United States. So interesting, those two things just kind of came together to me this afternoon. But anyway, I think check out that article and definitely check out the book, Ashley, The Untold Story of the Women of January 6th. Her smiling face is right on the cover. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover. Now, just the last paragraph in this article. Despite her 14 years of service and multiple deployments to military hotspots, Ashley got nothing. They're talking about recognition and other things. According to Mickey, the Air Force denied Ashley a military funeral because of her participation in the insurrection. Said Mickey, "It's just an outrage. It's an outrage, like so many other things."
This article over to me, and this is information that a lot of people would find an inconvenient truth. It documents the sequence of events and plans that were made on the part of the Obama administration with the cooperation of the CIA, the DOJ, and the FBI to basically build a political machine, a Trojan horse, if you will, to grant all the power and authority of the United States to a small, unelected few. You may recall a quote from Mr. Obama that said that he'd love to sit in a room somewhere and call the shots and just not have to worry about the public-facing part. Well, that's what he was setting up. Kind of looks a little bit scary to me, but I remember every single thing that's in this article that I've read so far. I think everybody ought to read it, and if I could find the URL for it, I think this is on Substack. Or it doesn't have a URL on it, but I'll ask Tom when he gets out. Gateway Pundit?
No,
Is that Substack?
no, you could look it up through, if you went to, I'll send you the link to it. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's really well structured. It captures all of the relevant facts with links. At least it looks like links, and
Right.
it's well done. I would recommend anybody read this, because I've only gotten through 9 or 10 pages of it so far, and it's actually, you can see it's kind of thick. It's printed on. It's pretty good.
All right, got a nice following online here, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and obviously greetings to every single one of you. Maurice, you get to see some of the comments, I guess, but
Yep.
looks like a good crowd tonight, so that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the hall monitor, monitoring the traffic.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot happening. I truly do. There's a lot of fronts that are changing, and I can't help but, I guess over time, I get a little bit better at it, as far as trying to pay attention to what everybody else isn't. You know, when we're looking at things like the gaffes that happen, that fall out of Joe Biden's mouth or other people's mouths, the first thing I think of is everybody's looking at this, so what should I be looking at that's not the same?
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be significant value in that. I encourage everybody to try to do that. Anytime something's tickling your emotions, whether it makes you happy or sad, angry, elated, dig into it deeper, because it's usually intended to cause emotional reaction, and that means that there's probably a fair amount of BS in whatever it is that's causing your emotional stir.
Well, I do agree. There's a lot of great things that have been happening with the Supreme Court rulings, etc. And it'll just be interesting to see what our Congress does. And it still just blows me away that we can't get more participation from our representatives at these sentences, at these trials, or even their staffers.
More participation? How about any?
Yeah, any. I don't think there's any record of any one of them sending any of their staff to a single case inside that courtroom.
They couldn't go sit in there and not have to do something.
That's right.
So I've actually thought about this, and I like what was said over here on the side, participation in anything. I've thought about this one for quite a bit. So, you know, you've got guys, elected officials that we refer to as rhinos. They stick out like a sore thumb, but a lot of the other ones, they've got to recognize that regardless of where they stand, they are subject to falling as collateral damage. In other words, just guilt by association, and what do you do to not piss people off? And it's going to cause them to hesitate. It's going to cause them to make bad decisions, bad calls, fail to participate. It's going to freeze them. And it's unfortunate, but they are at their root human. And so they're going to have a lot of the same weaknesses, even though their campaign promises would have you believe otherwise. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, and I think we the people need to take a stronger look at our representative form of government and find ways to tighten it up without screwing up our Constitution. That's going to be a challenge, and it's going to take some special brains.
Special. It just rains.
Well done.
They seem special at this moment.
Yeah. So, I like what Olivia was talking about. Devil's gonna come back, he's gonna try to get some revenge. Be ready for it.
I think you're already seeing that with the 15-12.
Yeah.
Your comment, what were we seeing on?
15-12,
I heard the 15-12 part.
doubling down.
But I think you're already seeing the devil rearing its ugly head in the form of that 15-12. There are some guys that are going home. There are others like Guy Reffitt that are about to go back in the courtroom, and that's a mess.
Has anyone actually gone home because of the 15-12 being overturned?
There are people that are going home that have the 15-12 charges. I don't know, and a lot of people jump to those conclusions. I don't know if they've finished their time or they're going home because of that 15-12.
Yeah, that'd be great to document that.
What is Guy's new appeal?
I don't know. I know I was up there the Friday they fasted, and that visitation was going to DC was a whole different day. Going to DC, like I can tell you, usually the point that we get to that we've crossed into DC, that day it was totally different. And we got to the visitation room and it was totally different. And we left, and just being in DC all day was totally different. But Nicole was telling me about his situation, and I looked at her and I said, I knew they were going to double down when it came down. They're going to cover their behind until the election. That's what they're gonna do.
Quaglin's judge, what was his name?
McFadden.
McFadden said essentially the same thing, which is I'm not going to be swayed one way or the other because my sentencing guidelines have nothing to do with the 1512C. That's what he said.
Billy Pressman should have went home yesterday, and I sat in his sentencing months ago, and they had already started that whole, even if you didn't have the 1512, I'd sentence you to this, even though it's the highest end of that charge, because he was covering his behind for that sentence.
Yeah, it's about getting the maximum. I mean, they use whatever tool they can. That's why they came up with that, because again, that was an Enron era thing. It carried a 20-year sentence. So
Yeah.
most of the other crimes that they had, even the assaults didn't carry
They'd
that.
be out by now.
Yeah, they didn't carry 20 years anyway. So that's why they whipped that one up out of whole cloth.
And then there's, the judge can sentence, span multiple charges and make the sentences concurrent or in serial. So they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Yours truly, John.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $26.60. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, this is Tom.
Hey, this is John Todd.
John Todd, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing lovely. I'm a little bit tired. Got to see some family today.
Oh, good. Great.
About to make a cooler out of my sink for my Pepsi, so I have an ice cold Pepsi tonight.
All right.
And then just gonna try and probably pack up a little in case, this weekend is my last weekend here.
You think that could possibly happen?
I don't, honestly, because I've yet to get any of my restitution. I was told that they're going to file my paperwork all together, so without restitution, I don't see them kicking me out yet, because that's not my total sentence.
Gotcha. How's that process work? I mean, why don't...
So we asked for...
Yeah.
we asked for the receipts of the damages done. Pretty much showing us something that there's proof, and the government did not have that the day of my sentencing for some reason. You know, I guess they were too busy sitting on their hands, twiddling their thumbs to be prepared for sentencing. So when we asked for it, they didn't have it, so they said, oh, well, we'll have it within 30 to 90 days.
And in the meantime, just sit there and wait some more, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm still being, well, it'd be nice if they, with the restitution, they brought me in and they dropped the 1512 since I did not mess with any documents that day or anything that the Supreme Court said would be cause to charge somebody with a 1512. So, you know, I'm gonna have some hope that I doubt will be fitting. But I'm gonna have it anyway, hoping that they do the right thing and get rid of that on the same day they give me the restitution.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. How much was the restitution?
They were asking for, I don't know. I think they were talking about like $2,000, $3,000, something like that.
Yeah, they were handing out $2,000 to, from what I can kind of recall. But then if there was something else involved, it would be higher than that. And I know you can't talk too much about it because it's still ongoing, but
oh no, I'll talk about it because as far as I'm concerned, my sentencing is done. And the restitution, they're trying to charge me for something when I did no damages or anything to anything in the Capitol building. So, I mean, they're just, as far as I'm concerned, they're barking up the wrong tree trying to steal money from people.
yeah.
But,
Hey, I gotta ask you, several callers over the time were saying they had a hard time calling in because when you make a phone call, you have to say your name or something in a certain way. And
yeah, you gotta say, with Global Telling, my voice is my password.
All right, because that's right.
And sometimes it acts stupid.
And so, how did you come up with the yours truly?
Oh, so that's a separate thing, but I was gonna say yours truly, your favorite insurrectionist, when I was doing it, and then I was thinking when I was like, I haven't been sentenced yet, and they're gonna use this in my trial, or my sentencing. And so I decided not to do it, but like last minute I changed my mind and I was like, why did I do that? I should have just said it because it's hilarious. And I'm kind of kicking myself in the arse for that, but.
Yeah, well, they would definitely have used it, I'm sure. They would have come up.
But that would have been great, like, just to have the recording of that. I would have been okay with them using it. I would have been like, good job doing your homework, guys.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's definitely a unique salutation whenever you call.
My friend was like, oh, why does it not surprise me? You can't take anything serious, even getting locked up and having a phone call. I was like, because you know.
You know, anybody that can maintain a mental status of not taking it serious is probably one of the most mentally healthy people you can find.
I don't know about mentally healthy, but I've got a whole lot of defiance left in me still.
That works.
That'll work too.
Happy to hear it.
I fight every day with that mental health part of it, but I'm still defiant enough and still good-spirited enough to be like, bring it.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Hey, do you know where you're gonna go next?
I don't. I know I'll go to Philly, and I'm assuming Philly. Unless, you know, they throw me in the awkward spot of throwing me in Oklahoma, and then I'm like, okay, why am I not the one that's going to Philly? But other than that, I'm pretty sure they'll send me to Philly first. And then I'm hoping South Carolina close to my family. If not, the next best one I can ask for is oh crap, what's it called? I just talking about it. Something Missouri.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Springfield, because that's close enough to my son to be able to visit, which is 2 hours away.
oh, that's good. Yeah.
So, but you know, there's got to be the right. But anywhere they put me, as long as I got somebody that can visit me, I don't care where they put me.
That's a good way to look at it.
As long as the food's better than here and I get good access to like gym and health, I'm happy.
Well, I tell you, we have heard, would you agree, guys? We've heard that a lot of people say that the federal system is better.
Food, yeah.
Yeah, well, in general, we've heard that the federal system is better. There are some significant and notable exceptions to that, like West Virginia.
Yeah, right. But in general, I think it's better too.
Yeah. In general.
Yeah, and I've heard that too. Which I'm happy to hear. Like the guys that have been in here, like Qui-Gon and them, who have gone through some of the worst stuff. I'm glad that, and I'm hoping that this is true, that they get a way better look on things and they're getting treated way better than what they ever got treated in here, because they deserve it finally. Well, they deserved it the whole time, but like I think they still deserve it, like now more than ever, to get some peace and some relief of all the terrible stuff they were doing. Like the troubles he dealt with at Northern Neck and certain things he dealt with here. Like, I'm glad that's all at an end. Which, thank you, Cheryl, for that article you sent me.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
did not see that, but I just got it.
You're welcome.
And it irritates me that the judge cut him off while he's giving his speech, because we're allowed to talk, but until the judges are not happy, and then you got to be quiet.
Yeah.
You talking about Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that article just the other day in here.
Well, it's surprising he talked for as long as he did. I mean, he knew how to push it right up to the limit, and he got a lot in there.
He did.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he got as far as he did, but I'm like, man, you should have been able to give him everything. But then again, Qui-Gon will push the limits as far as shoe bottom.
Yeah.
He will.
I gotta respect him for it though.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And he's still pushing it as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Anybody hear from him lately?
I've heard from him. He's doing okay.
Good. Hopefully he's good spirited at this time.
Yeah, he's probably going to be moved within a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Where's he now?
Hopefully me and Jake go out together.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I told my grandma if I come out there, hopefully she can come visit me, because she's not too far from Philly.
Oh, good. Well, that would be good if you do go there. I mean, that's a way to look at it, the bright side of things, for sure.
Because she got super mad at the judge and then wanted to let her give me a kiss, because, to be honest, I don't think she has much time left. And I was like, hey, Your Honor, I was like, you just gave me 5 years. I was like, I'd like to give my grandma one last kiss and hug. And she's like, well, ask the marshals if they're okay with it. And the marshals were like, nope. I was like, well, come on, my grandma's like about to die. Just give me one hug and kiss. I said, you can cuff my head behind my back and let me just like nudge the side of her head with my head. That's good enough hug for me and a kiss. I said, I'll pretend like I'm without arms. They were like, no, not having it. I was like, well, I know you weren't loved as a child enough. That's the one thing I couldn't do if I was a marshal. I couldn't deny somebody a hug from their dying or their elderly family. I'd be like, man, go get you some. Go get a hug and a kiss. And if I got in trouble for it, so be it.
Yeah.
That's the humane way of doing things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's people that have lost their loved ones. There's several that their parents died, and you know, or a family member died while they're in there. You know, it's just
I just
crazy.
had somebody very near and dear to me pass away from cancer a few weeks ago. And last time I talked to her prior to me not being able to talk to her, she was doing good, and they were excited, and then took a turn for the worst.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
Well, it just
That's
goes.
the way things were meant to be.
Yeah, and it reminds you that we're all, our time on this earth is fleeting. You know, so.
We are on borrowed time.
Yep.
All of us.
God leaves us here for a short amount of time, so we gotta be happy with what we got.
Yep.
Yep, we do. There's a lot to that. Recently had occasion to reassess.
Yeah, Maurice is talking. Maurice had some health issues that he was down for about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
In the hospital.
Totally unexpected. Went to the ER with stomach pains, expecting antibiotics and a few days worth of that, and ended up saying, he said, nope, you're going to a different hospital, and it may take a little bit. Like, oh my.
They said
Well,
a little
I'm
bit.
glad to see you made it out okay.
Well, you know, I learned a whole lot of things, and maybe I'll post them on a website somewhere sometime.
Food is
But
horrible.
one of the things I learned is that, you know how they say that when people check into the hospital, a significant percentage of them never come out? I'm telling you, it's because you spend most of your time laying on a bed. That is not good for you. You need exercise. It's just terrible. You got to get some exercise.
They said for every day that you're laying in bed in the hospital, it takes 1 week to recover.
Agreed.
It's terrible.
You have 1 minute remaining. You gotta get it up and moving around so you get that blood flowing.
That's a
Because
fact.
that blood
Keep the
flow is
muscles
what
working.
heals you.
Yeah, you got to keep the muscles working. Use it or lose it. That's the way that works.
Absolutely.
So
Well, I'm
yeah,
glad God blessed us with keeping you around, giving us more time with you, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it
It'd be a
completely.
sadder place with you not in it. So,
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
a pleasure.
All right.
Anything else you want to throw out before your time runs out?
Well, my inmate number is 388351, and my gift and go is to Fort John Todd. If anybody wants to help with anything, feel free to do so there, and keep up the support we got. We love you guys, and thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Bye. Another one of those goodbyes.
You want to repeat his
Yes.
gifts and go and so on?
That was John George Todd III, and his inmate number is number 388351, and his Give Send Go is Support John Todd, or you probably could go just to the use his inmate number and give him money that way.
I use both.
All right, sounds good. That was interesting what he said about the government didn't have the receipts for how they arrived at the restitution amount.
I don't think anybody's ever asked for them.
Maybe not.
Oh, I think there's a few lessons in that. You know, I've been telling people for the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, that the power of the people is really stronger than most people ever consider. And this is a case where, you know, something as simple as receipts to prove that I owe what you say I owe, you know, how many people would tell a judge, prove it? You know, or tell the government, prove that I owe this. There's so many things like that are available to us, even with boards of supervisors or whatever you call them in your community. Some people call them the commissioners, but you know, you got to read, you got to participate, you got to show up, and you got to ask for what you think is right. You got to push it. You know, this idea of voting for people and then walking away until the next election, obviously that hasn't been working for us. But that's what we've all done for decades, generations now. And we need to, even if it's somebody that gets elected from the other party, their job is to represent all of us and hold their feet to the fire. Don't let them just sit there and run them up. Hold them to the fire. So anyhow.
I agree with you, Maurice, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what I thought of when Olivia was talking, is that, you know, all of us sitting here probably were guilty of that to some degree.
Absolutely.
And weren't involved. And so it took something like this to do it. So this is from another Patriot group, you know who I'm speaking of, that I follow, and they just sent out an action alert, and it's going to be kind of funny, so listen to this. I asked all Patriots to immediately call our 2 U.S. senators and battle Joe Biden's presidential campaign. That's right, support Joe Biden. Why, you may ask? Very simple. The Communist Democrat Party illegally saddled us with Uncle Joe in the fraud-ridden election of 2020, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. As always, we can never underestimate the Communist Democrat Party and what they'll do next. But with Joe Biden keeping Joe under control in the White House, it's our duty as patriots to make sure, as best we can, that the moldering vegetable brain dead, I'll leave it at that, continues to be the presidential standard bearer for the Democratic Party, and therein destroys the entire rotten criminal enterprise from the White House on down. And I ask you to be a part of it. We need to make sure then that he gets to, I'll just skip over that part. Here's what each of us needs to do. Call each of our U.S. senators and demand that they stand by Biden. In quotes, he's the man we need in the White House, and to remove him at this late date would be a criminal act against all of those who supported him in the primaries this year and would hurt the Democrats winning this year. You can ad-lib this phone script any way you want. Just be sure to tell them you want Biden. Let's have some fun with this at their expense. We now have a chance to do a little election interference of ourselves. Let's make sure that Democrats continue to collapse into their own well-deserved chaos. Make those calls. And here's the phone numbers.
It makes me laugh when people go, they can't put another one in there, like in his place. Okay, they also couldn't install a president that wasn't elected, but
Please
here
charge.
we are.
That's true.
That's weird. I don't know. We're hearing voices, Maurice.
Yeah,
Yeah, who was it that
Probably
spoke
my
on that
mother.
phone? Is there somebody speaking?
my mother always gets into the act. Or wants to say something.
Someone said please charge, so it's either a mic or it wasn't the speaker. Was
You're
it?
right, Lisa. We have to get off the porch and stand up.
I'm hoping we're going to hear from Tate, but I will say a little bit of the discussion around his sentencing
5 more minutes.
this week. What's that, Cheryl?
He'll probably call in 5 more minutes because it's 8:45.
Yeah.
It's too early.
Okay. And he might get into it, but there was a discussion early on from the government side about the fine, or a potential fine, and the government wanted to take his roughly $10,700 that he had on his Give, Send, Go. And their argument was that you shouldn't be profiting off of, criminal acts, as they call it. So the judge said, and it was Judge Cooper, who, by the way, had said that he's tried almost 100 cases for J6. It could be, I guess, but I haven't seen him yet. So anyway, I guess I went in there thinking he's going to be maybe different from the rest, and he did seem at least more awake and attentive, not looking at his watch for what time is lunch coming. Right. Like one of them seemed to be more concerned over lunch than anything else that was going on that day. But then the other thing that came up, so basically the judge in the end, regarding the Gibson Go, he basically rejected the government's plea to take that money from him, so that was really good. But the other thing where he did not let off was there was a assessment, a restitution assessment for a window that Curtis allegedly broke. I guess they basically convicted him of that.
The window that we all saw get broken?
It was a window there was a speaker box that was thrown, that he threw apparently, and it bounced off the window, broke the window, bounced back off or something, and then another one was thrown. But that window, I had it in my notes, but it was several $1,000s to repair that window, and the defense argued that they wanted the judge to make that joint and severable with other defendants because that same window was in other people's trials and sentences. So basically, they're hitting one person with the total cost to replace that window, and then they're hitting another person with the total cost to replace that window.
They're turning it into a profit center.
Yeah, so the judge said, well, I'm not going to get into the details of that, whether who did this or that. So it was, again, a few $1,000s. I think it was maybe $3,000. So he was going to get the $2,000 as a minimum anyway. Anyway, so that made me think of that when John was talking about not having the receipts for the restitution. Curtis did get called into the sentencing guidelines, into the definition of how they arrived at things. They used his conversation on vigils, and they claimed that they tried to use what he said about things on the vigils. He said, for instance, the defendant repeatedly talks about his admiration of the J6ers in the pod. Now, you guys hear the admiration that we hear from these people. It's respect. It's thanking, it's these people that give them welcome parties. It's like, hey, you need commissary? I got something here, take it, just replace it. It's, the camaraderie that they're talking about with these people. And so, the defense was trying, or the government was trying to basically say, if you say anything good about any of these people, then you're advocating for criminals. Yeah, go ahead if you got something.
So on that particular point, seeking enhancement of punishment based on what somebody says by expressing his opinion is just further evidence that the government doesn't give a damn about the First Amendment.
They've told them they're not allowed to defend themselves with the First Amendment.
I've heard that stuff, and
you did not
Janatakis
have a First Amendment right to be there and have your voice heard. That can't be your defense.
Right, and that's my point. Yeah. Is that if the Constitution stands, well, if the Constitution stands, we wouldn't be sitting here in front of this camera right now. The right to redress for grievances, it's right there in the Constitution. We weren't throwing Molotov cocktails. Our people weren't throwing Molotov cocktails. They weren't, and using a bicycle rack as a weapon. How does that work? It's all absurd. It's all absolutely absurd. And it ignores the Constitution. I know that it's inconvenient when you get a couple 100,000 people show up, but it's still in the Constitution.
Hello,
But remember, the Capitol was shut down that day, right, due to COVID.
An inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. Your current balance is $24.90. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello?
Hello. It is not Tate, like the call likes to tell you. Unfortunately, he is cutting hair and asking for me to take over for him. So I told him if he called with his numbers, I would, so I could still call my son without having to wait.
All right, cool.
But
Cool.
it is me again. I was saying, keep up the support with all you guys for, and it means the world to everybody here. And we do appreciate everything you guys do. I don't think we'd be as high spirited if we didn't have all the support that you guys in DC have to offer us. It's made a world of a difference.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. I mean, because it's just a little bit of time. It's like we said talking before earlier on the other call. You know, time. All we got is time. How do you want to spend it? This is how I'd like to spend my Friday night. You know, talking to you guys. So.
Right, and like when I get out of here and I'm out for good, you know, I think I'm gonna spend more time trying to advocate for people who are put in a position of being in prison or jail, and trying to get them treated better and stuff. Like Flagler was trying to get us treated better. Like, I think I'm gonna devote more of my time doing that because I think people deserve it. Like decency and just good-hearted people coming together to change.
Well, right, and then the other piece is, you know, I think we all went under the fallacy, at least I was, that people going to jail had a chance to reform themselves and work on themselves. And I mean, a lot of people do it, but they got to take their own initiative to do it.
Right.
Those programs, I don't think, are really there the way I imagined that they were.
No, and I'm going to say this from an inside perspective. In my opinion, they put pieces of paper there to make it look like they're doing something, but they're not doing what they could be doing. And I don't think they're allowing reform when they're causing more issues by, like, let's say, poking the bear. Like putting people in handcuffs behind their back and cells for hours at a time, abusing them or treating them necessarily. Like I don't think that causes reform, but more hatred. And the last thing we need in this world is more hatred. Instead, we need more peace and more reform and like understanding of each other. You know, let's lift each other up instead of trying to tear each other down. That's what we need.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, really good point. It's worth noting that the people that advocated tolerance were anything but tolerant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like fairness. Like, we want fair treatment. Yeah.
You know, I think some of that comes from a materialistic society, kind of you've heard of the me generation. I think maybe the bill is coming due because we were all indulging in materialism too much and we like things to tip in our favor, don't we? It's the human weakness. And some are better at that than others.
My sister was like, I don't see, like, my sister and my aunt got mad because, like, when I moved out to South Carolina from Missouri with my sister, I literally gave up all my stuff and took a bag of clothes out there, or a couple bags of clothes. But everything I had were clothes, and then maybe, like, a handful of little things like hats and stuff. And my sister's like, I hate that you gotta keep giving up everything when something gets bad. You lose everything, and you just have to start over. I was like, yeah, they're just things. I said, I will pack up my life in 30 minutes or less. Whatever I can't carry, I'll leave and I'll move on. And she goes, I don't think enough people are like that. I was like, but all that does is it ties you down, and it makes you envious of other people, or like, it creates nastiness that I don't want.
Does.
And so I was like, yeah, no. I was like, when I was in Afghanistan, I learned to appreciate the littlest things. Good toilet paper, hot water for showers. I didn't have it. I wasn't mad. I just wanted to be able to shower, get a haircut, and have good toilet paper. And those were the biggest things. And I think if more people served and were in those positions of doing that and lost a lot of those things, or so what people don't have, like they could have a better understanding of what it truly means to appreciate life to its fullest. Like, and to care for one another, because the only thing you care about is making sure your brother next to you gets home. Or sister. But you just want them to come home so they can see their family. That's what means the world to you, is those people. Not possessions, but people.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
You know, I spent a couple of weeks in the hospital, and I'm with you on that shower thing.
Toilet paper, I had to give a bring toilet paper into the hospital. Toilet paper.
But, you know,
It's off of YouTube to fill your toilet paper tank.
it's, you know, I've had opportunity in my life to be in multiple places on the socioeconomic spectrum, and as long as you got a roof over your head, food in your belly, and a good clean shower and toilet paper, you should be good to go.
Absolutely. Hey man, I don't even have to have a shower all the time. As long as I can have the tools to keep me like clean, like even tools or baby wipes in exchange for a shower. Like I wipe down with that, stay clean. Like in the hole, I was so mad because I was like, man, I spent 8 days and I have no shower and I feel so dirty. Let me get a shower.
Yes.
And they're like, oh no, you gotta wait, it's the weekend. And I'm like, bro, you've not given me one all week, and you said I had to wait. They were supposed to give me one today. They were like, well, then what's 2 more days? I was like, I don't know, smelling worse than a hobo. But I was like, you know what? Oh well. So when I came back up here, I started appreciating the showers more. I was like, I can take a shower whenever I want. I'm taking like 3 a day for the first week.
Yeah, that sounds natural.
You do more when you can.
Yep.
But well, we are about to sing the national anthem. So I'm gonna go quiet right now because I know I'm gonna cut out. And then I'm gonna do it.
That was a great show.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Good job.
Nice.
I will make sure I tell everybody that. I usually stand back because I'm at the heart of it, and man, my ears are starting to go. You would think the ammunition did it, but I think it's starting to become the national anthem that does it.
Yeah, they're getting pretty loud.
Getting pretty loud. I think they're actually getting better at it, this crowd.
Yeah, and I think it helps to have it within like 25 people is a good number to have it like nice and loud like that.
It does help. It does. It's right nice. I'm gonna go. Take care of this.
Yeah, good job with that. So who's actually leading it nowadays?
That would be Pollock and Hutchinson. Johnny Pollock and Joseph Hutchinson.
Okay.
They lead the national anthem now that Sable's gone.
Okay.
We miss you, Sable. And then also, another person I was thinking about recently that I kind of miss his company is Jack Whitten. Man, that guy. I heard he just got moved out to Pennsylvania somewhere. I don't remember exactly where out in Pennsylvania, but I heard he got moved.
Yeah, I don't know him. Have you corresponded with him?
Not really, but I do follow him, where he's going. Yeah, he just got moved. I think it's Philadelphia.
He's a good person. He spent 3 years out in Atlanta, and
Oh my.
he should be done soon. But he spent all his time in Atlanta,
Gotcha.
and then came out for sentencing.
Tell him Dad's in Fort Dix.
Who's?
Tell him Dad's in Fort Dix.
Dad's in Fort Dix is what somebody said.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that's where he landed to go get smoked.
Yeah.
I love how everybody enjoys that. That and the turkey thing never gets old.
You can't get old if you're turkey.
Man, we were actually in visitation talking about turkeys earlier, and one of the guys in Tennessee, Mark Waynick, he said he had turkeys. He said they're white, or had one and it was white. And I was like, yeah, we had white with the red, and I was like, they are just the dumbest birds alive.
They are.
And he's like, oh. I was like, man, you gotta lead them to water, and even then, getting it to drink is a chore.
That's right, they'll drown.
They'll drown in the rain, but they won't drink.
Oh man, what it'd be like to be that dumb and carefree.
There's a lot to be
I
said
feel
for
like
that.
that's what it feels like to be a prosecutor.
Yeah, that's good. That's funny.
This is not Curtis Pate saying that, but even though he was just sentenced, it is John George Sutton III, so if you're going to take retribution, just know I could care less.
Perfect. Excellent. We like
Let's
it.
go after the right guy, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Credit where credit's due.
Gotta give it credit where
Yeah, I
credit's
like a good fight,
due. It comes in handy.
and it's never bothered me. I actually got a buddy out in Arizona right now just
It goes
struggling.
Tom.
And we serve together.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So,
He asked me if I still wanted to talk to him because he's changed. I was like, brother, I'm here for you no matter what happens. He goes, but you're going through your own thing. I was like, bro, my own things do not keep me from being there for my friends as well. I was like, you're a brother, and if you're struggling, you reach out to me. I said, we're texting, and I'll call you tomorrow. And he's like, all right, brother. He goes, I just don't want to burden you. I was like, you know what? I feel like it's more of a burden to not reach out to me when you could have than to reach out to me when you need to. Like, I'd rather you reach out.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Anybody who can say a few prayers for Joshua Smith, that's the lady's husband who passed away.
Okay.
And then he is the Marine buddy who's struggling with some stuff, and I know he could use the extra prayers.
All right. Will do.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
I was about to say, that's the longest minute I've ever.
Yeah, that was a long minute. Well, John George Todd III, got to talk to him twice. Great. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'll tell you what, another good Friday night with lots of callers, and appreciate you all being out there, and spread these around so other people who can learn something about J6. Thank you all. Good night.
No, you're not. Not yet. You're behind.
Oh, there I am.
There you are. See, there's about a 12-second delay.